Before we dive in, a quick note. If you've been around for a while, you might have noticed something new. The podcast got a little refresh. Your community strategist is now community at heart. Because this season, I wanted a name that really fit where I'm at and what we're building together. Same voice, same focused on smart, sustainable community growth, just a new name that feels a little more me. All right, friends, let's get into it. Conversation with a client last month, and it broke my heart a little bit. She's incredibly talented, strategic thinker, beautiful work, clients love her. On paper, she should be thriving. But when we got on Zoom, she looked exhausted. Like, not just I had a busy week exhausted, the kind of tired that comes from running on fumes for way too long. And she said something that I will never forget. Rage, I'm so tired of being the only person who understands what I'm trying to build. I Google everything. I figure everything out alone. And every time I hit a roadblock, I have to solve it by myself because nobody else gets it. And then she paused and said, sometimes I wonder if I'm just not cut out for this. And friends, I wanted to reach to the screen and shake her and hug her. Not because she was wrong to feel that way, but because she was blaming herself for a problem that had nothing to do with her capability. She wasn't failing, the model was failing her. Because here's what nobody tells you when you start a business: the solo grind isn't a badge of honor. It's not what separates the successful people from everyone else. It's actually what's keeping most talented people stuck, burned out, and wondering why their businesses feel so much harder than it should. So today, we're talking about the real cost of building alone, not the obvious stuff like you're tired or you don't have enough time. The hidden costs, the ones that are quietly draining your business, your creativity, and honestly, your belief in yourself. Let's dig in. Hi, friends. I'm Rachel Starr, former wedding planner, recovering people pleaser, and proof that you don't have to hustle harder to build something that lasts. These days, I help creative entrepreneurs, educators, and community leaders build businesses rooted in connection, not burnout. We're talking smart systems, intentional strategy, and communities that actually give back to the people who run them. Welcome to Community at Heart, the podcast where we talk about building sustainable memberships, launching offers that feel aligned, and creating spaces where people genuinely want to show up. If you're ready to trade solo hustle for shared growth, pull up a chair, grab your coffee or your sweet tea, and let's build something better together. Welcome back to Your Community Strategist. I'm Rachel Starr. Okay, so let's start with what the solo grind actually looks like, because I think we've normalized it so much that we don't even see it anymore. You wake up, check your inbox, immediately start putting out fires. Client needs something, you handle it. Tech issue with your platform, you Google it or chat GPT it and figure it out. Marketing isn't working, you watch 3 YouTube videos and try something new. You're writing your own copy, designing your own graphics, building your own funnels, managing your own clients, creating your own content, doing your own bookkeeping. And in between all that, you're trying to actually deliver the work you've been paid for. By the end of the day, you're exhausted. But you're also behind because there's always more to do. So you tell yourself, it's just work a little longer tonight. I'll catch up this weekend. Once I get past this busy season, it'll be easier. I'm absolutely guilty of all of those statements. Except it never does, because you're the only one doing everything. And here's the thing that nobody wants to say out loud: this isn't sustainable. It's not a phase. It's not paying your dues. It's a business model that's designed to burn you out. Let's talk about the cost of this that we can actually see, the obvious ones. First, there's the time cost. You're spending hours on tasks that aren't your zone of genius. You're not a graphic designer, but you're making your own Instagram graphics because hiring someone feels too expensive or too complicated. You're not a copywriter, but you're writing your own sales pages because you know your business best. You're not a tech person, but you're troubleshooting your email platform at 11 p.m. because something broke and you can't afford to wait. All those hours, they're hours you're not spending on the thing that actually moves your business forward: the strategy, the client work, the partnerships, the high level thinking. Second, there's the financial costs because when you're doing everything yourself, you can only take on so many clients. You hit a ceiling, not because you're not good at what you do, but because you literally don't have more hours in the day. So your income plateaus and you start thinking, maybe I need to raise my prices, which sure might help, but it doesn't solve the underlying problem, which is that your business model depends entirely on you. Third, there's the decision fatigue. Every single day, you're making 100 tiny decisions. What should I post today? Which client should I prioritize? Should I invest in this tool or that one? Do I need a new landing page? Should I pivot my offer? All those decisions, they add up. By the end of the week, you're so mentally drained that you can't think strategically anymore. You're just reacting. But those are the obvious costs, the ones we can see and measure. Let me tell you about the hidden costs, the ones that are actually doing the most damage. First, the opportunity cost. Every hour you spend figuring something out on your own is an hour you're not spending on something that could actually grow your business. Let me give you a real example. I worked with a brand strategist who spent 2 full weeks trying to figure out how to set up an evergreen email funnel. She watched tutorials, read blog posts, tried 3 different platforms, got frustrated, and started over. 2 weeks. And at the end of it, she had a funnel that kind of worked, but didn't feel quite right. Meanwhile, her colleague, who was part of our community, posted in the chat space, "Hey, has anyone set up an evergreen funnel? What platform do you recommend?" Within an hour, she had 3 recommendations, links to tutorials that actually worked, and an offer from someone to hop on a quick call and walk her through it. She had her funnel up and running in 2 days. Same goal? One person spent 2 weeks, the other spent 2 days. That's the opportunity cost of building alone. Not just the time you're spending, but the time you're losing. The second hidden cost is the confidence drain. When you're figuring everything out by yourself, every failure feels personal. Your launch didn't go well. Must be because you're not good at marketing. Your offer isn't selling. Must be because you're not positioning it right. Your community isn't engaging. Must be because you're not a good facilitator. And because you're doing it alone, you don't have anyone to reality check those thoughts. You don't have someone saying, well, actually, your first launch is always rough. That's normal. Here's what I did differently the second time. You don't have someone saying your offer is solid. Your audience just needs more nurturing. Have you tried this? So instead of seeing failure as data, you internalize it as proof that you're not good enough. And that kills your confidence faster than anything. I've watched so many talented people quit, not because they weren't capable, but because they were drowning in self-doubt that came from trying to do everything alone. The third hidden cost, the creativity drain. Here's something I didn't expect when I started building my business. The more isolated it was, the less creative I became. Because creativity doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens when you're bouncing ideas off other people, when you're seeing what others are doing and thinking. Ooh, what if I tried that with my audience? When you're building alone, you get tunnel vision. You see your business one way and you can't see any other possibilities because there's nobody to challenge your thinking or show you a different approach. I can't tell you how many times I've been stuck on something, mentioned it to someone in my community, and they said something that completely shifted my perspective. Not because they're smarter than me, but because they see things I can't see because I'm too close to it. That cross pollination of ideas, you lose that when you're solo. The fourth hidden cost, the relationship cost. And I don't mean your personal relationships. Though, yeah, when you're working 60 hours a week and constantly stressed, your relationships suffer. I know this from firsthand experience. I'm also talking about professional relationships, partnerships, collaborations, referrals. When you're grinding alone, you're not building relationships with other people in your field. You're not creating referral networks. You're not collaborating on projects that could expand your reach. You're just heads down trying to survive. And here's the thing about business: the best opportunities don't come from your website or your Instagram, they come from relationships. The client who refers you to their entire network, the colleague who believes in you on a project, the partnership that opens up a whole new revenue stream. All of that requires relationships, and relationships require time and energy that you don't have when you're doing everything yourself. The fifth hidden cost, this is the big one, the ceiling. This is a ceiling to what you can achieve alone. I don't care how talented you are, how hard you work, how efficient you get. You will hit a point where you can't grow anymore without other people. Not because you're not capable, but because there's only so many hours in a day. And your business model depends on you doing everything. So you plateau and you get stuck there. And the really frustrating part, you look around and see other people growing past you, people who aren't necessarily more talented or more experienced. And you think, what am I doing wrong? But you're not doing anything wrong. You're just playing a different game. They're building with other people, you're building alone. Now, here's what people usually say: okay, Rachel, I get it. Building alone is hard, but I can't afford to hire a team. I can't afford to outsource. So, what am I supposed to do? And I want to be really clear: I'm not talking about hiring a team or outsourcing tasks. I'm talking about community, collaboration, building relationships with other people who are doing similar work. Let me tell you what happens when you stop building alone. First, you get faster because instead of Googling or chat GPTing everything, you have people you can ask who've already figured it out. Someone in your network has already set up that tech platform, already launched that type of offer, already navigated that challenge. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. Second, you get smarter because you're exposed to different perspectives and approaches. You see how people are solving the same problems. You learn strategies you never would have thought of on your own. Your thinking expands because you're not stuck in your own head. Third, you get more confident because when you share what you're working on and people say, that's brilliant, or have you thought about this angle, you realize your ideas have value. And when you hit a setback, instead of spiraling into self-doubt, you have people who say, hey, that happened to me too. Here's what I learned. Failure becomes feedback instead of evidence that you're not good enough. Fourth, you get more opportunities because you're building relationships with people who can refer clients to you, collaborate with you, bring you into projects. Your network becomes your biggest business development tool. And fifth, you break through that ceiling because you're not limited by your own time and expertise anymore. You're leveraging the collective knowledge, connections, and resources of your entire network. Let me give you a real example of what this looks like. I have a member in the Co-Creator Society who's a systems strategist. She was doing okay, making decent money, but she was maxed out on clients and didn't know how to grow. She joined the community and started building relationships with other service providers, OBMs, designers, community builders, strategists. Within 2 months, she had 3 referrals from other members whose clients needed systems help. But here's the cool part. She also realized that a lot of her clients needed design work after she set up their systems. So she started partnering with a designer in the community. She'd handle the systems, the designer would handle the visuals, and they'd split the project fee. Suddenly, she could offer more comprehensive services, charge more, and she wasn't doing all the work herself. Her revenue doubled in 6 months, not because she worked harder, but because she stopped building alone. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but Rachel, I don't have time to build relationships. I'm already drowning. And I get it. I really, truly do. But here's the thing. You don't have time not to build relationships because right now you're spending hours figuring things out alone that someone else could have helped you solve in minutes. You're turning down opportunities because you're at capacity and don't have anyone to refer them to. You're hitting the same roadblocks over and over because you don't have anyone to help you see a different path. Building relationships isn't something you do after your business is successful. It's how you get there. Here's what I want you to ask yourself this week. What did building alone cost you this month? How many hours did you spend figuring something out that someone else probably already knows? How many opportunities did you miss because you were too overwhelmed to see them? How many times did you doubt yourself because you didn't have anyone to reality check your thinking? I'm not asking you to make you feel bad. I'm asking because I want you to see the real cost, not the I'm tired cost, the actual measurable impact of your business and your well-being. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you realize that solo grind isn't a badge of honor, it's actually holding you back, you can make a different choice. All right, friends. Here's what I want you to take away from today. You're not struggling because you're not good enough. You're struggling because you're trying to do something that's already hard to do alone. The solo grind isn't making you stronger, it's making you stuck. And the fastest way to break through that ceiling, build faster, and actually enjoy your business again, stop trying to figure it all out by yourself. Find your people, build relationships, collaborate instead of competing. Because the businesses that are actually thriving, they're not being built alone. And if you're ready to stop grinding solo and start building with people who actually get what you're trying to create, come join us in the Co-Creator Society. It's where strategists, OBMs, designers, and community pros are growing their businesses through collaboration, not competition. Where you can ask questions and get real answers from people who've been there. Where referrals happen naturally because everyone's looking out for each other. And I want you to be part of a community that actually supports your growth instead of leaving you to figure it out alone. Head to co-creatorsociety.com to learn more and join us. Links are in the show notes. Your business doesn't have to feel this hard, friends. It just needs the right people in your corner. Until next week, bye, friends. Hi, friend. Quick question. Are you still building your business solo? Because if you're craving support, collaboration, and people who actually get what you do, it's time to join us inside the Co-Creator Society. It's where creative pros come together to grow their businesses without the burnout. You'll find live events, workshops, and resources that help you build smarter, not solo, all inside a beautiful circle community designed for collaboration. And the best part, we've got our own app. Yep, you can connect, collaborate, and grow your business right from your phone. No noisy Facebook groups, no endless scrolling, just real connection on your own terms. Whether you're launching new offers, refining your client experience, or trying to grow sustainably, you don't have to figure it out alone anymore. Come see what we're creating inside the Co-Creator Society. Your people are waiting for you. Head to co-creatorsociety.com to join us today.